Waking the Tiger has added in many new decisions to form a new nation. In total, the DLC has actually added 19 different brand new formable nations. These nations differ immensely in terms of difficulty, so you might have a bit more trouble in some forming them than others. In today's video, I will simply be listing off the nations that you can form, what you need to start as to form them, and who you need to conquer to form them. So sit back, relax and grab a cup of tea as we dive deep into this new update. So, can you guess what the first nation these Swedish game developers would add into this game? Can you guess what these very Swedish people might add into the game? That's right, the first formable nation. That's right, the first formable nation is Skegness. Wait, what do you mean Skegness is not a formable nation? Wait, they chose Scandinavia. Why the hell would I want to form that instead of Skegness? Fine, it is their game and not mine. So yes, that is right, the first nation they added is Scandinavia. And whilst it's not as exciting as the independent trade republic of Skegness, it would certainly allow you to start as Norway, Denmark or Sweden and form Scandinavia. In order to do so, just control all of the other land of the two other nations, and well, there's no other requirement, so feel free to do this as either a fascist or a communist Denmark, Norway or Sweden. The next formable nation is far more inclusive than Scandinavia because this nation is the Nordic League. This can be attempted by Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland and Iceland, and in order to attempt it, simply control all Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, Icelandic and Finnish lands. Anyway, fun fact time, did you know that if you start as Finland and amass your troops on the Swedish border, you've technically created a Finnish line? Gran Colombia is the third formable nation and is something to really spice up your game in South America. In order to form this nation, you must start as one of the following nations: Panama, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela and Peru. In order to form this nation, you must conquer all of Ecuador, Colombia and Venezuela. So Peru and Panama can actually be entirely ignored if you prefer. Personally, I would recommend starting as Venezuela as they start off in the easiest position to expand. The Austro-Hungarian Empire can also be formed. This is a very exciting formable nation that grants you a large number of claims on foreign lands. Now, whilst you might be used to forming this with the Hungarian focus tree that was added in Death and Dishonor, to get this formable nation you actually have to start as Austria, Czechoslovakia or Croatia. Now, once you start as these nations, you must conquer Hungary, Austria and Czechoslovakia. In return, you're given the chance to reintegrate the empire and go out conquering once more like it's World War I all over again. I'm sure many of the EU4 community will welcome the introduction of the Commonwealth. This new nation can be formed if you start as either Poland or Lithuania. You are able to form it once you gain control of both Lithuanian and Polish lands. After forming it, you get the nice jazzy Commonwealth flag and some additional free cores. The United Netherlands is a nice idea added in by the developers to add a temporary goal for the speed bump nations between France and Germany. Technically, this nation can be formed if you start as the Netherlands, Luxembourg or the Belgians. However, honestly, if you've seen my video on Belgium, I'm sure you know you don't even need to consider the other two nations, as Belgium is just so overpowered. In order to form this nation, simply conquer and control both the Belgian and Netherlands starting lands. That's right, you don't even need to worry about Luxembourg. The United Central America nation is more of a mini-mission idea for those of you who like fighting tiny little wars between tiny little nations in Central America. I'm sure you can have lots of fun forming this nation, and it is a welcome addition to add some content to the Americas. In order to form this, you have a huge choice of nations to start as. You can be Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua and Costa Rica. To form, simply conquer all of the other nations, and you can form this wonderful new country and gain some free cores on the land you control. The Baltic Federation is a rather easy formable nation considering the situation, as it is easy to basically invade the other Baltic nations. Basically just start as Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania and conquer the other nations. All this nation does is change the flag to add something jazzy and give you some free cores. The Ottoman Empire is one of my favourite nations to play in EU4, and so it only makes sense to add it into Hearts of Iron 4 to get all of the European Universalis community excited. This is a very special formable nation that requires you to start the game as Turkey. You then must invade the French colony to yourself and invade Iraq. After doing this, you're given the ability to form the Ottoman Empire. After this, you're then given some cores on the British colonies and Italian colonies in Africa. Considering the amount of cored land that can be gained from this, it is an incredible formable nation. Now, I am sure this next formable nation is going to cause some exciting controversy in the comment section, and well, certainly about the federalization of Europe and the power of Angela Merkel. I am of course speaking about the new nation that has been added, the European Union. This is a special formable nation because in order to be even shown this decision to form the Union, you must of course be democratic. This achievement can be completed if you start as West Germany, Italy, France, Luxembourg, Belgium or the Netherlands. If you want to form the Union, simply control all French, German, Italian, Belgian and Swamp German lands. Surprisingly, you don't actually need to control Luxembourg to form the Union. You know, that's quite disappointing, Paradox Interactive. I was expecting some Luxembourgian representation out there, but oh well. If I had to recommend a strategy for this, it would certainly be starting as Germany, winning World War II and then switching to be democratic. This is the formable nation that honestly I was not expecting, and it might actually be a little bit annoying to complete. This is of course the nation of Mutapa. Now many of you EU4 players might have encountered Mutapa before, so be prepared to get annoyed at the attrition you're going to be taking in the African desert. In order to form them, simply you must start as one of the following: South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe or Mozambique. In order to form the nation, you must then control the colonial regions around the area of Mutapa, which for reference is just to the left of Madagascar. Now, this formable nation was sadly leaked online, and to be fair, we were all expecting it. This is of course the nation that appears in almost all Paradox games, so it only made sense to add it into Hearts of Iron 4, especially when considering the ideas of Mussolini. So this is the Roman Empire, and it can be formed by starting as Italy and conquering all ex-Roman cores from the height of the Roman Empire. So you're going to be invading Germany, you're going to be invading France, you're going to be invading England, you're going to be invading Spain, you're going to be invading Turkey, you're going to be invading Africa, you're going to be doing so much conquering, it's going to be crazy. It is important to note, however, that after forming this nation, Mussolini decides to put on a little golden crown, and it is very cute. The next empire that has been added in is of course the Persian Empire. This empire has of course had a huge impact on the development of history and is a pleasant addition into the game. To form the empire, simply start as Iran or Afghanistan, and you must control the land of Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, Turkey, French Syria, Italian North Africa, British Egypt and the British Middle East. So there's going to be a lot of fighting happening if you want to form the Persian Empire, and I can definitely see this being a fun challenge for people starting as Afghanistan. Plus you get a bloody lot of cores out of it. And of course this nation had to be added to the game, the Byzantine Empire. Thank God we can finally restore the fake Romans to their throne. Simply start as Greece, invade Turkey, invade Bulgaria and then invade Yugoslavia. Then sit back, relax and enjoy the huge purple blob you've created. After this, you're then given some decisions. You can get the decision to triumph in Italy. This gives you loads of cores on Italian lands. You can also triumph in the Middle East and triumph in Northern Africa. It's a great way to get some free cores on land that you probably want to invade anyway. The next formable nation is Arabia. This is another nation that can be formed in EU4 and is one of the more powerful ones as well. Arabia can be formed by a huge list of nations in the game. You can start as Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, Egypt, Libya, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon and Syria. The choice to form the empire is only possible after controlling Iraq, Spanish North Africa, Saudi Arabia, Italian Libya, French Syria and French North Africa, British Egypt, the British Middle East and British Arabia. After spending several hours taking all of these bits of lands, you are then awarded with a huge amount of cores, so good luck to anyone wanting to form Arabia. The Magicarpet Empire is actually another nation from EU4 and is something for the two nations of the Dutch East Indies and British Malaya to attempt. In order to form the empire, simply conquer the other and gain a load of free cores. It's going to be a nice simple one, but it's just something to spice up your Asian game. The The Rattanakosin Kingdom? The Rattanakosin Kingdom? Who the f knows? Is the next formable nation, and honestly I have no idea how to pronounce that, so feel free to rant at me in the comments about how appalling it is that I mispronounce something. Anyway, to form this nation, it is rather simple. Just start as Siam and effectively invade and control French Indochina. Then you get the decision to form the nation, and it's as simple as that. So just stay fascist and join Axis. That's all you really need to do. The Holy Roman Empire is seemingly one of the more difficult nations to form. Now, this is mostly because all of the YouTubers that I know who have attempted this have failed. Now, to be fair, most of them aren't doing what I do and just reading the game's code. So it is still possible to form the Holy Roman Empire, but it is difficult. The Holy Roman Empire requires you to start as Germany, invade Switzerland, invade Austria, invade the Netherlands, and invade Belgium. However, you can only form the nation if you are neutral. And you can only see the decision to form the HRE if your leader is Queen Victoria. That is right, ladies and gents, in order to form the HRE, you are somehow going to have to get Queen Victoria onto the throne of Germany. Anyway, good luck to you in finding out how to do that when the game releases. Finally, we have the Greater German Reich. This is a purely cosmetic change that requires a few things. You must of course start as Germany and have capitulated France. You must still of course be in a war with France, and you must be in control of Paris. Then, provided you are a fascist, you can proclaim the Greater German Reich. This of course changes absolutely nothing apart from the name. But hey, you know, a fun little addition to add to the game. Anyway, I hope you found today's video very informative. Sorry for the delay, as it has taken me a few days to get this information together. I would of course be interested to hear how you feel about these formable nations and the DLC overall in the comment section. I would also like to see what nations you were hoping to be added into the game, because I personally was really disappointed to see that the independent trade republic of Skegness was not truly represented in this update. Anyway, feel free to give the video a like and subscribe to join the community, and I will see all of you in the next one.